right, we have to make sure it's actually working. So, pardon me real quick if it is. All right, it sure looks like I am live. Okay, so my name is Misha. I review. Oh no, I'm getting double audio. I troubleshoot my sound is what I do. Um, okay, I think it's just from Twitch. Okay, I think we're good. So, as I was saying as before I was so rudely interrupted by myself, um, and now OBS is gone. Okay, no, it's back. Um, I review people's writing. I used to work, I essentially continue what I used to do at one of my last jobs, which was giving consultations on writing. Doesn't really matter what sort. I've done fiction and nonfiction, lots of essays. Today, I'm going to be doing a piece of fiction, which one of you might remember from last week because I didn't record it, and I will be doing the same one again. Um, but we'll see. I probably will have something else to say that I didn't say then, and not that it matters because there's no record of it. So, except for that one person who hopefully isn't going to be disappointed that showed up and helped me with my sound again. That's going to be a common theme probably. All right, so I've got a form that people can fill out, and this submittee, whatever, um, filled it out as such. They describe their project. Okay, good. It's a personal short story. Um, they were not terribly specific on what they would like me to focus on. Um, I will try to focus on their story, as opposed to my numerous sound problems. Um, but for future reference, it's helpful if well the more specific you could be when you fill this out, the better I will be able to actually address anything because I'll just get distracted otherwise. I'll try to give a holistic um analysis of the story, but like if it was something like the plot or characterization or even like natural sounding language. Actually, yeah, the big thing I worked on back then was ESL speakers and well writers. I'm trying to make their writing sound more natural, and that's a thing that even native writers sometimes want to work on too. Actually, anyway, um, I'm already doing a bad job of focusing on their story. I'm going to focus on their story now. All right. I've got this one that's oops, spoilers, that's marked up that I made last time. I'm going to read a clean copy though because well, mainly because there's spoilers. And then we'll go back and look at what I wrote last time. And partially because it'd be really boring for me to just read this silently, and partially because it's just good practice to read aloud whatever you write. Generally, I would have the client read that, but that's obviously not something I'm going to force people to do on Twitch. Um, so I will be reading it instead, and let's see whether I can get through it without getting distracted like I did last time. Lavender. I woke up in a bed. Yep, it's pretty normal. I'm just a normal, fun loving, light haired West Virginian like all the other West Virginians. I'm not different, and I'm not lying either. I have a pale complexion and dark, frizzy hair. Okay, you caught me. I lied. I'm not light haired. I can't be truthful about everything. I mean, I was a little truthful. I do love fun, and I do have this light streak in my hair that really stands out. I tried to use dye to fix it once, but now I just don't look in the mirror. At least I'm not ginger. I don't know if I'd be able to manage. I have a normal job at a flower shop, though I keep wondering when they're going to bring in the wheat because all we sell are peonies and roses and stuff. And then I wonder how the bread is made with those. How the bread made with those tastes. So yeah, pretty normal. Normal. It sounds weird now. Anyway, I woke up in a normal bed on a normal day. The sun was out and the room was kind of dusty, so it made these beautiful little rays of light. I had a quilt over top to protect me from the cold. It was January after all. I think it was January. I'm pretty sure it was January. I mean, it could have been February. I get those confused sometimes. Okay. I'm resisting my urge to comment, and I think I will because generally, since I know this piece of writing is polished, I wanted to push through it, but I just have stuff to say. So, um, the not being able to know whether the ginger joke, maybe we'll come back to it. But right now, it is a little bit um, what's the word for it? Not overdone. Well, something about it rubs me the wrong way. We'll see whether that's a problem later on, because they do go back and fix it, which is why I didn't want to talk because I'm giving spoilers. Uh, Here, I need to get on editing mode, or not editing mode. Adjusting mode. Speaking of editing mode, this will be an excellent opportunity to practice editing stuff out later on for me. Yippee. Okay, I'm gonna restart. Okay, I'm going with that it was January. Because that's a cold month, and it was a Tuesday, because what the hell, Tuesday is pretty normal. It was an average. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Tuesday in the quaint little town of Nowheresville. Well, the town is actually called Point Pleasant, not the M dashes. But it was pretty small, down small compared to where I was born. The town was big enough to have a flower shop, but that was surprising because half the buildings were abandoned. They were all old brick though, so it had the sort of majesty of an ancient city. That is to say, Point Pleasant was nice. All the people in town were nice, and so was my husband Cole. Okay, I'll be frank, because I heard he's an honest guy, and say that Cole was kind of a jerk. But I got love, and that's all that matters, right? Now I'll be Lavender, because that's my name, as you can see. I'm a pretty honest person, and say that my life was pretty much perfect otherwise. I mean, my normal daughter loves me plenty, and Cole's nice enough when he's not boozed up or hungover. My daughter's name is Lady. There's a funny story about that. I'll be frank, it's really a terrible story. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make a note here because this this is where we're going to have this whole I'll be lavender thing will come back, and I want to make a note. Actually, it's this whole thing. Okay, that'll make sense later. Oh, that moved the whole thing over. Cool. Okay, my daughter's name is Lady. There's a funny story about that. I'll be frank. It's really a terrible story. One day we had a bunch of plants come in that all had the word lady in their name. Painted lady, dancing lady, lady slipper. And then Rose, the woman who owns the shop, said, "That ladybug bit me," when we were putting together an arrangement. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And that was the day when Lady was born. I hadn't thought about names at all. I didn't know you were supposed to. I doubt Cole put any thought into names either. He was a jerk like that. But whatever. The quilt line on top of me was dark, all dark red, except for a single bright blue corner. And I'm not very good at sewing, to be frank. I wonder who's Frank and what's his last name. Anyway, Cole was lying next to me, and I could smell the booze on him. Or, I guess, more like his breath, because he was a mouth breather, especially when he drank. I'll be lavender. It didn't bother me, because I actually liked the smell of booze. It wasn't good that morning because it meant Cole had stayed up all night drinking again. And since it was apparently Tuesday, Lady had school, and I was the one who had to make sure she was ready. I'll be lavender when I say I really loved getting up at the crack of dawn to get her ready to go, hang out with all the other kids. I'll be frank when I say I really do love her. It brings me joy and fulfillment with her, I swear. See the lavender, I'll be lavender coming back. It doesn't leave. I wonder because I don't have fresh eyes anymore, but I wasn't able to figure out what that meant the first time I read this through. Um, and it becomes kind of like detrimental if you don't end up figuring it out pretty soon and what it means to be lavender. But yeah, think about that. What does it mean to be lavender as I read? Because I'm curious about whether that's apparent to anyone else. I think that I've got an idea for what we can do at the beginning to make it more clear, but anyway, spoilers. Okay. Anyway, I walked into her room and nudged her awake. Like me, she was groggy, but unlike her, I didn't show it. I knew she'd never let me live it down if she saw Mom tired in the morning. Or maybe it would just make her feel bad. I couldn't tell you. We went into the kitchen where I got some coffee and she got a scone. I'll be lavender. I don't really need caffeine or anything. I just like the taste. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people don't, but that's one weird thing about me. I pride myself on it, in fact. Gotta know. Once again. So, I walked with Lady to school on my way to work. And let me tell you, she could be so whiny when sometimes when she doesn't want to go to school. I got to the flower shop, ever ready for my weed. Except Rose had other plant plans today. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to use the poinsettia in the bread. I'm joking. I'm not that dumb. I know what flowers and bouquets are and all that are. Though I will say for some reason everyone pronounces it bouquet. I guess it's some stupid French thing. But then how are we supposed to pronounce quiet? Quiet? I wonder. Rose is really nice. She pays me a lot more than I need because apparently there was some stupid gossip about Cole and me, and now she knows I'm the one with the job. I'll be frank, I don't want to stand out, or I didn't want to stand out. But I guess if it gives me a few extra bucks, then it's hard to complain. And I guess I lied earlier. It was actually December because Rose told me I'd be getting a Christmas bonus in 2 weeks. Rose is really generous, probably at her own detriment. I mean, I didn't really do that much around the store. I cleaned the place every day after it closed and manned the cash register. But Rose treats it like I care for the flowers too. I'm not sure I could do that job if Rose paid me to do it. I mean, she would pay me if I did it, but it'd be hard. Work was pretty easy that day. A bunch of people came in, but we didn't have to write any orders for flowers. I loved the days like those. I was in charge of writing the order forms, and it always terrified me. No, it always terrified that they I was always terrified that they might not be able to read my handwriting, because then they'd reject it and we'd have to wait a week just to realize our mistake, and then I'd get fired, and then I'd probably be arrested for not having a job or something. So in conclusion, order form days sucked. Excuse my French. I got off work and went back home. Lady was reading a book in her room, while Cole was still in our room recovering. Or maybe he was just being lazy. I don't know. But whatever. My aunt told me to find me a nice man, have a kid, and try living a normal human life. It was advice that I lived by ever since I was young, and it had worked wonders. I liked being normal, and normal, for the most part, liked me. A few hours later, I cooked dinner just like I did every night. It wasn't anything fancy, just 2 chicken salads and sandwiches. I got the pre-cooked frozen chicken, especially when it was just lady. Oh no, I just got the. Honey, I put in a just in the first sentence and now I'm missing the just in this one. Um, okay. I just got the pre-cooked frozen chicken, especially when it was just Lady and I. There's too many justs here, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. Most evenings, Lady talked about school and I'd talk about work. Then after dinner, I might try to help her with her homework. The only thing I helped her with was math. To be Lavender, I wasn't terrible at the other subjects. I mean, technically, where did I get that from? I mean, my vocabulary wasn't like super big or anything, but I could read and write pretty good. But she never really needed help in the other subjects, so math it was. To be frank, I was a little worried about what would happen when she got to the higher grades and I couldn't help her anymore. I entertained the idea of learning some more math, but it was only a passing thought. Maybe someday I would go back to school so that Lady might be proud of me. Maybe it would have been lighter if I had a sense of taste, but dinner was heady. Lady asked me a question that I hadn't recited the answer to yet. Because it wasn't in the parenting manual. Okay. Mom, why isn't Dad eating dinner for us? Why isn't Dad eating dinner with us? She tried to pretend she was just curious. I've got some stuff to say about this. Make a note. Mom, why isn't Dad eating dinner with us? She tried to pretend she was just curious. Because, lady, your dad's feeling under the weather, I replied, being Lavender. She just spun her fork in her salad like it was spaghetti. I could hear it scrape the plate. But he's always under the weather. It hurt me to see her like that. I didn't know how to reply, and to be frank, I wanted to ignore it. I know, sweetie, it'll be okay though. Come on, finish your food so you can do your homework and get to bed sooner. Lady was a weird girl, really. For some reason, she actually liked going to bed early. My distraction seemed to sate her somewhat. I could still feel her sadness, though I could still feel her sadness. Cole was a jerk, you know that? Even if he was the father. After the meal, I helped Lady on her math for a bit, then made her take a bath, and then tucked her in. With both my normal child and my man-child in bed, I could relax. It was all mom time. I've been omitting something important, so I'll be Lavender with you. I know I said, okay, this is a big I'll be Lavender moment. I know I said I was normal and average, like the perfect median of all people or whatever, but I'm not like super normal 24/7. Like I'm a really normal person, but I'm not the most normal person. That's because I had a little bit of a ritual. Every 3 months, I'd stretch my wings. It really helped with the weird claustrophobic feeling I get looking like that all the time. I stepped outside, closed the door, and my body knew it was time. I took off my sweater because otherwise my wings probably would have torn it, though I don't actually know because I have never experimented. Already I could see the steam rising off my body under the porch light. I hated the winter air because it always sapped me dry, but the coldness felt pretty good, especially when I was really worked up. My wings burst from my back. I could also feel black slimy mandibles come forth from my throat. That part tended to happen when I was stressed. And I guess I was, because Christmas was coming up. I didn't fight it though, because it felt like too much work to keep them back. To be lavender, I didn't mind the mandibles much, but most people would probably think they were scary. The beating of my glassy wings quickly turned into a buzz, and I was off the ground. I flew high up, and then closer to the town. My favorite thing was the moon on the river, and that night the moon was full, making the whole area look like a model train set lit by a dim light. It never got old. I just hope nobody saw me. I think one time someone might have mistaken me for Mothman. To clarify, I'm not Mothman. He's a little bigger than me. I flew off towards the forest to make a few laps. I did dives and banks and glides and everything I knew how to do with wings. I thought about my daughter. I wished she could fly too. Maybe she could, but as far as we know, she was just a normal person. I'm glad she turned out the way she did. I'm glad she wasn't ginger, at least. I'll be lavender, though. If I said I'd give everything up to show everyone I had my wings. No, I'd show everyone my wings. I love Lady. I almost love Cole, for what it's worth. Flying just isn't worth them. Hell, I'd give up my magic before I gave up Lady. I tired myself out after a while and went back home. Something was wrong, though. Standing in the doorway was Lady, looking up into the night. I tried to land on the edge of the porch light, but it didn't work. She saw everything. She saw me without my shirt and my wings, folded up behind me. I tried to put on the sweater, but my mandibles got caught on the neck. I had to pull them back. Mom, she called out. Where were you? Why'd you leave so late? What were you doing? She chastised me. I felt her panic, her anguish. I was stunned. Being as lavender as I could, I responded, What are you talking about, sweetie? I hoped I might be able to convince her it was a dream. Lavender again. I hoped I might be able to convince her it was a dream. If it worked on TV, it might work here, I thought. You're, you're not my mom. She ran into the house, slamming the door. I didn't have any close neighbors in my holler, but I'm sure it was audible in the next state over anyway. Hmm. I cringed. All I could say oh no. I opened the door back up. Lady was shouting, Dad, Dad, someone took Mom. Please wake up, as she knocked on my door. Then she stopped knocking, opened it, and ran in. I was heartbroken. But my aunt told me about this situation. I was going to make things right. Lady, honey, wait, I could explain. I followed her into my room. Cole was still completely out cold. I don't know if, I'm not even sure if he was breathing. I mean, he must have been. Lady backed into the corner when she saw me screaming. I put my hand over her mouth and felt her saliva seeping between my fingers. Honey, if you promise not to scream again, I'll take my hand off your mouth, okay? She nodded, but I could tell she was being lavender. I asked her again, Lady, please don't scream. I promise, promise I won't hurt you. Just listen to me. I really am your mom. She nodded again, and I could tell she was going to listen to what I had to say this time, so I held up my end of the deal. She shivered in fear as she spoke. But how can you fly? People can't fly. I'm not I'm not a regular person, lady. I swallowed. I'm a demon. A dirty, gross, smelly, evil demon. But but I'm also your mother, lady, and you're the most important thing in my life. I didn't want you to know because I knew it would only hurt you. I could see she was struggling to breathe. A demon? You're evil? I sighed, me and my big mouth. No, we're not really evil. She didn't blink. But if you're my mom, does that make me a demon? Yes, lady, but barely. Oh, cool, she said, trying to lighten the mood, the way like only a little kid can. You don't want to be a demon, sweetie, trust me. I made a serious face, the kind of face I only make when I'm trying my very hardest to be frank. Frank's probably a stern fellow, a no horseplay sort of guy, maybe Scottish, because I hear they're quite gruff. Is Dad a demon too? She asked quietly. No, he's normal. You really are a human, sweetie, I promise. And I am your mother. She nodded and looked down at the ground. I could tell she didn't believe me. She never would, probably. Lady, why don't you trust me? Because you said you're a demon. Her eyes welled up in tears, and it broke me. I loved that girl so much, and few things gave me pain like seeing streaks on her cheeks, especially when I caused them. I broke, and my own eyes welled up. I couldn't do it. I pulled up my hand to my face and turned away when I wiped the tears away, hoping Lady wouldn't see. I couldn't put any more burden on her, making her worry. Is it true? Are you really my mom? She finally asked with a shaky voice. Yes, I replied in turn. Then I love you. She said it uncertainly, as if she was just trying to get me to stop crying, like I was the little girl. My heart stopped when I heard those words. I pulled her close and hugged her tightly. I nuzzled her blonde hair, getting it wet with my own salty water. But it was okay, because she thoroughly soaked my chest too. We were there for a while. Her uneven breaths were the most precious thing. The miasma in the room was almost suffocating. I leaned my head back to look at her, and she looked up at me with shiny eyes. Come on, I said with a small and relieved smile. Let's get back to bed. Okay, she said with a raspy voice. We walked into her room, and I tucked her in for the second time that night, kissing her twice on the forehead. I turned off the lights and was on my way out when she spoke up. Sleepy. Mom, can I see what you look like sometime? I mean, as a demon, I bet you look just as pretty as you do now. Oh, so you think I'd look ugly as a demon? I said with a cheeky smile on my face. No, no, she tried correcting herself before I cut her off. It's okay, I was just joking. I started walking out the room. But can I, Mom? Yes, I said. Lavender. I walked out of the room and waited until I could sense she was asleep. When she fell asleep, I creeped back into her room. I stood over my little girl, stared at her sleeping image. She had a faint smile on her face, and I could tell she was dreaming of something nice. I stretched out my finger and it turned black and hard like an old suit of armor. I touched it to her forehead so lightly that so that she wouldn't be able to feel it. Demons are great at this sort of thing. On top of the wisdom my aunt left me with, she taught me a single, powerful spell with the ability to look into people's minds and make them forget. I went moment by moment through Lady. my daughter's memories, removing any evidence that I was this thing. She deserves better than to carry even a single ounce of that burden. To be Lavender, it wasn't that hard. I mean, I was doing it for a good cause, right? It was for my family. It was for my daughter. It wasn't for me. I walked out of the room and into my own. Of course, Cole was still dead on the other side of the bed. I don't know if he had gotten up for a minute. You know, on a different note, I hope I can meet Frank someday. I think he could help me be a better person, even if he's probably a ginger. Okay, so we come back to the ginger joke. So, I'm going to stop reading and address the thing that I've been going on about with the I'll Be Lavender because, um, well, I have the benefit of hindsight in that I know that the second half, starting with this Princess Metine, is kind of a different story. It's definitely part of the pair, but this is a good stopping point. Um, so with regard to the All Be Lavenders, I didn't notice what the author, what Chris was doing at first, but halfway through, actually, I'd pretty much finished reading it. I realized that the All Be Lavenders were essentially the opposite of All Be Frank. Um, they are. She calls herself Lavender when she's lying. Um, or at least that's what I thought. That's what I ended up thinking. But now, after I've read it this time, Lav. That there's times when, like in this one, this paragraph here, where when she says that she'll be Lavender, she'll be. She seems to be telling the truth, but she is affirming her identity as Lavender. So it sort of has this superposition of meaning. Um, I'm gonna go to the one that I marked up previously. Oh, that's still a spoiler. um, okay, so this section where it's I'll be Lavender though. If I said I'd give everything up to show everyone my wings. I love Lady. I almost love Cole for what it's worth. Flying just isn't worth them. So if I'll be Lavender means that she's lying, then it sort of makes sense that she wouldn't give everyone everything up to show her wings. She she well, she goes on to say she'd give up her magic. So she loves her family. But she also says she'll be Lavender where when she says that she loves her family for real. Where's that? Okay, no, this one makes sense. I'll be Lavender. I don't really need caffeine or anything. I just love the taste. Um, okay, so she doesn't like the taste of coffee, or she does like it, and she just likes the taste. So it's kind of cool to have this, and it contributes to the alienness of this author or this speaker because I mean she's obviously a monster or a demon, right? Um, and it makes sense for her to sound different or other than and using like common figures of speech like I'll be Frank and then like overthinking it and then making her own version. Well, yeah, like at the very least it's someone who has a grasp of the language. So it's not exactly like a non-native speaker, but it's someone who thinks about it in a weird way, which again, perfect for conveying the alienness of this um I guess body snatcher type character. But so so yeah, in this section though, um, because that's my name. Okay, it's not her name, and all as you can see, I'm a pretty honest person. Okay, she's a liar, so she's being lavender when she says she's lying, but and say that my life was pretty much perfect otherwise. See, that part doesn't really work though, because if lavender means that she's lying, uh-oh. Oh, hi, Sapphire Moonstone. I don't know when you said that, but I am glad to have you. I'm obviously in my own little world going on about this lavender thing. I wish there was a way for me to check when you said that. Let's see. Oh, there's no timestamp. The This is another problem that I'm going to have to work through is being able to pay attention to when people are here, because I am in my own little world. So hi if you're still there. Um, Also hi if I'm just talking to myself, because that is normal for me. Okay, where was I? Okay, so right. Um, so she's being lavender, which is to say she's being dishonest when she says my life was pretty much perfect otherwise. But she I mean, my normal daughter loves me plenty, and Cole's nice enough when he's not boozed up or hungover. Like this seems like this is the truth. So, um, why would she be being lavender about this? Because I think she loves her daughter. Maybe she doesn't actually love her daughter. She was definitely affected by it, by her finding out that she's really a demon. Um, I guess it could be like she was okay, yeah. Then here's another place where she's being as lavender as she could. I responded. So like that's I guess that means that she's lying as well as she can. No, what are you talking about, sweetie? That's not a lie. That's being lavender. Um so maybe I've just got this whole being lavender means lying thing wrong, and it just means it's a more deeper, it's just being lavender is exactly what it says it means. Maybe that maybe that's what maybe I've gotten caught up in my own pet theory that it means that she's being deceitful. um but that there are times where the text doesn't make any sense, um, unless you understand that being lavender means that she's lying. I'm gonna have to merge these comments into one document. I don't know what my plan was. Um, okay, so that's not for right now. So, but yeah, right. So this is not a lie. She's literally trying to be lavender. And then where being lavender first gets brought up, this is where it's unclear, like if being lavender Well, it doesn't. Yeah. So yeah, does being lavender mean being dishonest? Oops. About no, she's about her daughter loving her. Yeah, but we know that there was that whole miasma of love scene when they hugged. So her daughter does love her, so she shouldn't be lying about that. And in any case, like this is the first time I'll Be Lavender comes up, so so it should probably be more a more black and white. Well, okay. So you don't have to have every little ambiguity be a puzzle that has to be found out. It's just that in this case, it really is kind of, I mean, maybe that sort of ambiguity is fine, but it feels like you need to understand what being lavender means in order to understand what she means, because being lavender comes up at very important points in the story. I mean, maybe I'm just being letting the autism lead a little bit too strongly, and in that I want like um a firm like meaning to everything, and maybe some ambiguity is fine. Okay, I'm scrolling down into spoilers. Okay, so this is I think that this paragraph should straight up be Frank, because she's being honest here. She's not putting on a show as lavender, and she's not just lying, which are the two meanings of being lavender I worked out. White, right? She's coming clean. So and that's that sort of moment is I think what really confuses it for me. So okay, let's see whether I could um take a minute and talk about something other than this Lavender Frank thing, because I will admit I have been totally possessed by it. Um, I think that I ended up thinking about it a lot after I read this the first time. Um, yeah, like pacing wise, I really do like the way that both pacing and just yeah, anything other than that. I like the alienness that comes across. It's a little bit corny, especially that was my issue with the I'll don't know if I'd be able to manage. It feels like a British humor reference sort of thing, but you come back to it at the end, or at the end of this section with the we mentioned Frank being a person, and then um at wanting to meet Frank, and even though he's a ginger, um, it's curious. I suppose she. That is a question though I've got to ask: is where does I guess it's obvious in retrospect the ginger stereotypes, grinder stereotypes. No, no, not grinder stereotypes. I could spell. I totally able to do that. I could stop using spell check anytime I want. It's obviously TV. Yeah, so I halfway want to just uh 86 this comment completely because the corny joke. Oh, but probably it's not just corny, it's corny and derivative. Wow, I'm breaking out breaking out the spell check again. Oh, I'm not even close enough. Oh, wow. Mask off moment. Can I spell derivative? Oh, I got close enough. Yay me. I might delete that one before I send this to the author because um it's out of pocket. But I could be out of pocket a little bit, I think. Um what was I getting at? Okay, so yeah, we got this alien. It's or I guess a demon. I could use the that's what she was, right? A demon who well then there's the I didn't really pick up on it that much, but there is the deadbeat or maybe just alcoholic um husband who it's because of the whole lavender thing, it's unclear how much like she's I think she says that she loves him or she got love from him, but he is also like almost a comic relief the way that he is like out cold for the entire story and doesn't interact with the other characters at all. He's basically not even a character. Um, I think it builds to it. It almost is like saying that because like it he I don't know whether Lavender was like replaced by this demon and he doesn't know and they have this whole crisis and he doesn't know he's just um battling his own demons um instead of engaging with the plot, which it's like you got to ask yourself which one's the worst parent here. And I kind of want to say it's the dad. He is totally not present. Now that I've worked that out, I like him a lot more. At first, when I started talking, because I didn't know what I was going to say before I started talking, I was probably going to say something like why is he even in the story at all? Because he doesn't do anything. But um, now that there's the whole uh yeah, he's there to compare to Lavender in terms of how like effective of a parent he is. Yeah, the mom is some sort of monster, but she seems to mean well. Um, at least she's there, and that's I guess it's sort of wholesome in that regard, but not really. Okay, I think okay, yeah, let's see. The pacing I think works. Um, there is no it doesn't it's hard. I'm no longer fresh eyes anymore, but I don't think it drags. Um, especially since yeah, I've read it before and I think three times now. But um, ooh, more work for me later because I am okay. Okay, I need to talk about yeah. Let's go look at my original comments because that's important. So there was a couple places where there was like stuff that might be a typo, but it might just be like my gaps in my knowledge. So here, you're not my mom. She ran into the house, slamming the door. I didn't have any close neighbors in my holler, but I'm sure it was audible in the next state over anyway. So like, is holler like meaning like in the distance that her holler will travel, or is it meant to be like a hollow? Does she live in the woods? um so there's that. um and but kind of important, um in this whole transformation scene when she gets back and she's caught by her daughter. I didn't get pick up on when she actually transformed back into a human. um she so somehow I imagined her in her demon form the entire conversation up until when she kisses her daughter on her forehead with the mandibles, and that I don't think is what the author meant. I think that she was definitely back to being she was definitely back to being in her human form before this. But and I think it does happen when she has to I had to pull them back. That's where she transforms, or she finishes transforms. But like I don't know, some sort of something that will tell that she's not going full demon um while she's trying to chase her daughter into the house, because that didn't make any sense. Um, but because she was so weird and alien, I thought that she did. I thought that she did chase her daughter into the house looking like a monster, and then was wondering why she was running away from her. Um, because I mean, we have an alien character, so why wouldn't they act alien? Um, okay. Let's see whether I got anything else. Oh yeah, this was another. This is where I was originally confused by what to be lavender um meant back in my first read through, because um I didn't mind the mandibles much. So she does mind them, right? Um but most people would probably find them think they were scary, because that part's not a lie. So yeah, the way that the author back on the to be lavender and to be frank, I know, but the way that the author uses that, um, they seem like the very first thing is the lie, but then the actual meat of the sentence, the where the predicate um really comes into force after whatever the phrase, that part I would expect to be a lie, because if we're flagging something as a lie, you'd expect the real part of the sentence, not just the little add-in comma phrases, to be deceitful. Again, if it's meant to be deceitful, but it seems more like it's what immediately follows lavender that is the lie, rather than um ra- I'm gotta check my chat because I don't want to leave. I left someone hanging the first time I recorded this, where they said something and then I just didn't notice. Okay, but okay, where were we? Where were we? So yeah, the comma phrase is the lie, but not, or the being lavender, because we don't know that it's really being a lie, but um the rest of the sentence is not. And then there were a couple other places where it really helped with the weird claustrophobic I got feeling looking like that. I I think I get what this means now. Maybe italicizing that? No, you know what? Because it's funny. I've got a different feeling than I did the first time. I was like, I was actually confused what we were talking about. Maybe italicize, but now it seems fine. So I'm hesitating. Add to dictionary that one. Yes, for sure. Yeah, of course it's a C. Let's see what else I have to say. Oh yeah, there's maybe it'd be lighter if I had a sense of taste, but then it was heady. It might just be a pun, or maybe it was meant to be heavy. I'm not sure, because the whole flower shop thing tells me that there are going to be puns like that. Um, and then, but yeah, like I think I hadn't rehearsed the answer to that. I hadn't rehearsed the answer to yet. Would it make more sense than recite, because reciting gives the impression of um gives the impression of performance. Think you mean practice. Effective. And then yeah, there's a couple places where like we need a comma for the that accent wasn't like super big or anything. There's a comma there. And this is a place where my knowledge of grammar is coming back to, um, or rather, it's getting rusty. Because I think you might be able to say at her own detriment rather than to her own detriment. Um, I do think to would be more natural though. Okay, I'm. How many times will I look at that spoiler? I don't know. Okay, yeah. So that's a spoiler. All right, so let's get the rest of this finished. I'm way over time, but um, the rest of the story should go fast. My name is Princess Metamorphine, but you can just call me Princess Metine. Auntie didn't know what about morphine when she named me, so now some of the demons joke about how it sounds like I'm some sort of new age alternative to heroin. They don't do it when they think I'm listening. I am always listening. Wait, but they think it hurt my feelings because I think it hurt my feelings. Regardless, I'm a fair. Oh, I'm in the marked up one. Oh, what the heck? We could stay in the marked up one. Um, Regardless, I'm a fairly average demon princess. I'm the second oldest of my sisters, and my mane is this beautiful iridescent color. So that's parallel to lavender. I'm blending my comments, so this will make more sense as I go on. I'm the second oldest of my sisters, and my mane is this beautiful iridescent blue-green, like an opal. Blue-green like an opal. I guess I don't need a comment there. I try to keep it pristine, but my sisters and auntie make fun of me for it. It gets really annoying. I mean, why can't a demon just be naturally pretty, without sorcery? You might be wondering what a demon is. Think a big, black fuzzy wasp with the mane of a lion. And arguably most importantly, we could change our appearance to mimic a great many things. And also, we require human affection to survive. It's our nectar. Is somehow this feels like a new. I'm not sure that the semicolon is actually strong enough here. I You might be wondering what a demon is. Think I know this is like totally non-important, but um yeah, honestly, I think that this should just be a period and a new sentence. Or maybe it's a colon? This is definitely vibes based, but I it's now it's going to bother me for the rest of the story. I'll come back to this later, but can I spell colon? No, I can't. Uh, Sente, Sentis, Sentience. If I actually look at the screen when I'm typing, I could spell a lot better. I will say that in my defense. Okay. But my sisters, just because they make fun of me doesn't mean they look down on me. Yeah, this is colon. used how I think that this one should be a colon too. In fact, not to brag or anything, but I'm probably one of the most, if not the most, looked up to demons in hell. All my sisters ask me for advice, and Auntie has said numerous times that I'm going to be the next queen. And well, to be honest, it's a lot of pressure. I try to keep my cool, and it doesn't really show except when I'm around Auntie. You might also be wondering about hell. It's not too different from how you'd expect. The air is full of sulfur, and you have to keep an eye out for the occasional magma seeps. Yeah, the occasional magma seep. And it's pretty dark, with only a dim red glow permeating everything. Occasionally, occasionally it snows white ash, but the wind. Wonder why. That's really strange. Why? I didn't think there's a new sentence there. But the wind usually whips it. Uh, Usually whips it right away. Our architecture is very porous too. That's bothering me. Maybe I have to go to editing. Okay, so there's just a bunch of spaces there, I guess. Usually whips it away. Our architecture is very porous too, like a big basalt termite mounds. I must point out that dead people don't often end up here. They mostly go to the other place people mistake for hell. Overall, hell is a wonderful, peaceful place. We're really close, Auntie and I. She shares a lot more with me than she does with my sisters. She's a total hard ass. I guess, in multiple senses of the word, because the whole exoskeleton thing. There's a lot of M dashes here. Uh, but she once told me she liked to sing, and I felt terrible too because I laughed when she told me that. But she was serious. We made up, of course, and because but I'm sure if it was anyone else, it would have been a different story. And really, she is pretty good at singing. Oh my goodness, I'm getting tired. So good for her. Being a princess is everything I imagined it would be. It's probably different on Earth, but the politics of hell are very simple. The royalty makes the drones, and the drones serve the royalty by going to Earth and collecting love. The best kind of love is motherly, but the love of children or spouses can work too. Wait. Oh, okay. So okay. I was gonna be like, isn't motherly love and the love of children the same? But no, it's one's from the children and one's from the mother. I could read. Okay. Love of children, spouses can work too, even though it's more fickle. That's why we usually replace children. We're often called changelings, but that's really a general term. Fairies do it too. Up, name drop. But they don't even have a good reason. I eventually found satisfaction in birthing duties. It was pretty gross and a little painful at times, but getting to see their cute little faces, after all the goop had been cleared off, of course, was worth it. They always smiled, wide smiles too, like a sack, like the sack was really that bad, and they were just overjoyed to get out. I can't help but find the smugness endearing. I remember my first birth. I was really scared, and the first nymph's incubation always lasts the longest because the body is still developing. You have Dominant. I remember not being able to say this the first time. I could have looked up how to pronounce abdominal, but I didn't. And so now, even though we could have been golden, I'm still having to embarrass myself by not being able to say it. Good for me. Let's uh let's count that as one for the editor, please. Abdominamin. No, I can't do it. Your abdominamin, our third segment, not the second, swells up thrice its size and never shrinks back down. And it hurts a lot. My older sister reassured me that the second was much less painful, and the rest after that was just minor discomfort. She was right. Maybe it's pretty gross and weird, but hey, I'm creating an entire generation of demons, and they're basically my slaves. But that doesn't but don't tell them I said that, because that would make them sad, and it would make me a little sad too. In hell, princesses firstborn are special and are more readily promoted, except Queen Pupa's, who was disabled. Uh, that was a long time ago, though, and I'm sure that was really sad. You expected to name your first three, and Ekti, what I call my sister to annoy her, thought it would be funny to tell me at the last minute and act like she forgot. I don't want to say that I hate her or anything, but she gets on my nerves sometimes. Ooh, I didn't notice this first time, but this is parallel to where Lavender was naming her daughter last minute. They both kind of blame someone else. I think Lavender actually forgot herself though, or I don't know. They might be. It might just be exactly the same situation where they both forgot. That's cool. Nice parallel. I don't want to say that I hate her or anything, but she gets on my nerves sometimes. The name ended up being really hastily chosen and boring. Her name was Chitlin. I know. Pretty original considering a fifth of demons have that name or some variation of it. Wait. Do the other ones get names? Because it said that only you named the first three. That's a very minor, but it's curious. Okay. I mean, they obviously do because a fifth of them are named Chitlin. I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong too. Um, but like, yeah, that's. I guess maybe someone else names them, but that's a little something to consider. Um, oh, I am real blind. Okay. But no other caregiver dared to name him Chillin. Okay. Maybe it's out of respect, but absolutely no one takes anything I do with a grain of salt. It's exhausting. After my first birth, I made sure to pick out names for my second and third that weren't bland. I named the second a girl, Grace. Seriously, there's a lot of M dashes here. Because I wanted her to be graceful and beautiful like me. Call me conceited. I don't care. We're demons after all, aren't we? The third and last, another boy I named Venom, because he hurt more than I thought he should have, and I wanted to spite him. In the end, he got the better end of the deal. I could only imagine Venom is a more intimidating than the Philip than I was originally planning. Me and my younger sister, Princess Hemi, it's short for something I don't know, are really close. Also, her being the youngest means I get to teach her a lot of stuff about hell, and I do it right, unlike the cheeky Ekti. I feel bad I don't know Hemi's full name, but she doesn't know either, so I suppose it's okay. My middle sister, Princess Naya, Ante just dropped the D from Naida. Naida? That's a hard pronunciation again. And I don't talk much. Oh, the M dashes. Ekti and her are close, but Nai seems really depressed sometimes. I want to cheer her up, but she never lets me in. I just hope she's not jealous of me. My two aunts, Queen Aurella and Princess Chrysalis, are really nice. They both give me good advice and are really supportive. Chrysalis and I don't talk much, but when we do, she's very insightful. Yeah, this is, I don't know whether that's a pun or a typo because there's been lots of, like, you'd expect that there to be one, but it doesn't really make sense if it's insightful because she's being really supportive, but in being insightful is like, provocative and fight picky. So, um, yeah, that's a great definition of gamey. Um, yeah, causing insight. Wait, like, yeah, inciting things. Yeah, starting stuff. Um, so like, is this a pun? I don't know, because it's hell, so maybe it is. One time, I went to Auntie because I was really stressed, so she recommended that I see Chrysalis. I did, and Chrysalis told me I needed to step away from hell for a bit and get some fresh love. I asked Auntie if I could join the feeders, and she said, "Well, Mateen, I suppose, but don't do anything too risky." I couldn't believe it, to be honest. She wouldn't even let Ekti do it. It was clear to me I was the most trusted among my sisters, and I tried to live up to those expectations. I took the place of this idiot's girlfriend, and he really loved her. It was already hard enough to breathe earth and air after being away for so long, but that house was really suffocating. It was like eating too many brownies and then trying to inhale a milkshake. I thought I was going to die. Luckily, breaking up with him sapped a little bit of his love, and then it was just the perfect amount. I'm glad I listened to Chrysalis because it was a lot different than the secondhand slop I get from the drones. Please don't tell them I call their work slop. I haven't been feeling I haven't been feeding lately though. I was going to go out a few weeks ago, but I had another birth, and so I had to put it on hold. It'll kill the nymph if you shapeshift, and it'll kill you too if you're unlucky. I was asked to give a speech to all the demons in hell once. It feels like this is. Did I miss something? No, I guess we're just jumping around. I guess we were expecting a famine and were a bit love starved. There were just so many staring at me, I wanted to turn into a little bee and fly away before anyone could notice. But the smallest thing I could be is a little baby, and I knew they would have seen that. So I gave the speech. The first line was very memorable. Demons, I welcome you. Please, before we begin, I must say I love my subjects very deeply. It was a bold statement, though, and honestly, I didn't know it at the time. Though honestly, I didn't know it at the time. No royalty in demon history had ever stated I love my subjects, because demons can't love. It was common sense that I apparently lacked. But I said it, and after the speech, everyone chanted and cheered. Auntie was supremely pleased, and I imagine she would have been smiling if her mouth parts allowed it. Hemi was far too young to know any better then, but I think she would have been happy too. Um, okay, so I think yeah, it's successfully getting the vibe that this princess is a changeling in her own right too. Um, with the this metaphor too is really nice because like demons wouldn't know what eating brownies and trying to inhale a milkshake would be like, but a human would. And they mentioned being away from hell for so long. Okay, so whatever. This is someone that was not originally a demon. Um, which then tells me that well, why did I start with that? Because the important part is the whole demons can't love thing. Because if demons can't love, that would explain a little bit about what's happening in the first half with Lavender. Because Lavender seems like she loves seems like she loves her daughter and her family. Um, maybe I should go back and I, I'm out of time, but um, if there should be a moment where she's like, "I'll be Lavender. I love my family." That'd be cool. Okay, so yeah, here it is. I'll be Lavender. I'd give everything up to show everyone my wings. I love Lady. I almost love Cole for what it's worth. Flying just isn't worth them. So can she experience love? Because it seems like she can. Yeah. Like, is she like different than normal demons? Actually, love, or is she just being Lavender? Because I I'm having a hard time placing the especially now that there's so many layers to it. Because I thought that the Lavender stopped before then. I because it seems like she loves Lady and her family, but now she can't love them, or maybe there's different rules for different demons. Okay, gotta focus. I assume that I am using information I have from my last time, but I think that she wants to be special, not average. Humble? Would she be humble? Would Sam be humble? Uh, okay, back on track. Where were we? Auntie told me what hemi is short for. Hemi metamorphine. Oh, that was easy. I just need to tell her never to share that with anyone lest they start making fun of her. She's good at taking a joke, but she wouldn't be able to handle the level of mockery I received. Still, my heart starts racing when I think about how Auntie named her after me. Auntie said that she did it so that maybe Hemi would turn out even a fraction as perfect as me. And if I could blush, it would have been profuse. I almost wish I didn't ask. I haven't been completely honest. My name is Metin, yes, and Auntie did name me, but Auntie isn't my real aunt. I was adopted. It's a little sad, but my real parents didn't love me. Anyway, so didn't. But my real parents didn't love me anyway. I think that that should be no nothing because it just flows funny. But my real parents didn't love me anyway, so I'm happier being in a place where I'm appreciated and cherished instead. My real parents didn't love me anyway, so yeah, no comma. Auntie was sad after Princess Coley went missing. I actually Chrysalis about Coley, and Eckley said that she remembered Coley as always being depressed. I asked Chrysalis, and I could tell she was conflicted when I mentioned the name. She was very reserved with her response, but she said Coley was a promising princess, a lot like me actually, but she had bad self-esteem issues. Chrysalis said Coley ran away. I didn't question her after that because I could see it was hurting my aunts to dig. I didn't understand why I was making Chrysalis so distraught, though. Coley was just her niece, not her child. Like, yeah, I still am confused what this is, what this is getting at. Um, Demons can't love, but this is a fake demon, so I thought demon like if demon if demons can't love, then why is she so distraught? I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it, but that's kind of what I'm here to do. So I'll give myself a pass. I think that it's important. It feels really important. It's at the end of a paragraph, um, but it just doesn't make any sense. Maybe if I read it again, it'll make sense. Okay, carry on. But anyway, Auntie found me and made me a princess. I already had the traits of a young princess, so it was easy just adopting me without too much metamorphosis. I have a hunch that that's why Auntie named me Metamorphine, but she won't say. Maybe she's embarrassed about her early names. I know I was. The annoying part was the annoying part is she told Eckley the reason. I don't remember much before I was a demon. I know I was an ugly girl because all the other kids told me so. I know that father was replaced. I knew that his secret. I knew that I discovered his secret somehow. We never saw him again after that. I don't know if my mother ever knew. And after I saw what a demon was, I was so jealous. I realized that demons truly define beauty if they could be whatever they want, and I wanted to escape my ugly skin just like them. After I had the revelation, it's all very blurry to me. I remember a few if so desperate images of my metamorphosis. I remember the bright lights of an operating room. I remember autumn leaves crunching under me. I remember seeing my doughy skin slouch off, revealing my black skeleton. I remember fondling the slippery antennae on my head with my rotting fingers. Nice. And I remember being cold. So, so cold. The next thing I knew, I was somewhere in a forest. An auntie had her legs wrapped around me, her big gray compound eyes glared at me, her false pupils drilled into my soul. I was terrified. When I looked up to see her mandibles, though, they looked content. They were closed, as if she had nothing to gain from eating me. And more importantly, it felt like I had a nose that could smell her feelings. She looked down at me and said, "Coley, is that you?" A single antenna grazed my thorax. She petted my matted mane. My speech was awkward. I was surprised I could talk at all. No, no, my name is Lavender. She opened. Oh, all right. So that has we have some stuff to say about that. Um, She opened her mandibles and looked up at the gray evening sky. Then she hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe, but she wasn't going to hurt me at least. She finally loosened her grip and asked me, "I'm sorry, Lavender. Where are you from?" "Point Pleasant," I said, confused. "We're both demons here," she said. "There's no need to hide." A demon, I looked at my hands. They were just black, hairy little claws. I It reminded me of the one that replaced my father. "I'm a demon?" I looked back up. I guess I should. "I'm a demon?" I looked back up at her. "Well, yes," she said, tilting her head. "What else could you be?" "But I'm a human, though," I said, ready to pass out. "You're clearly a demon, little one." "No, but I want to be a demon." "Lavender," she said, utterly perplexed. "Look at yourself. You're clearly a demon." I wanted to argue with it, but when I tried to stand up on my own 2 feet, my 2 feet. Hey, Google Docs agrees with me. My 2 feet. I couldn't. What? Why? Why would my own 2 feet make any more sense there? That's actually crazy that both me and Google Docs are so wrong. Okay, I tried to stand up on my 2 feet. I couldn't. It's totally fine to only have your 2 feet, not your own 2 feet. Okay, focus. I had 6 legs and a car pace. "I'm a demon," I shouted. It was a bit muted on account of my voice being so breathy. "Little human, why would you want to be a demon?" she asked, completely flummoxed. Obviously, she knew that demons were superior, but she doubted any humans knew that. Wait, this is weird. Why do we know what she's feeling? I think it's just plain old first person. Maybe I've been missing. Can I spell weird? No. "I want to be pretty," I rasped, "like you." My voices are on point today. she was skeptical, but all it took was a peek into my memories with her spell. She never once spoke of what she saw. I wonder if she saw more than I know. I wonder if I'm repressing something. Auntie told me she'd teach me that magic once I'm ready. I wonder if I could use it on myself. I wonder who knows. The only three demons that might know are my aunts and Ekli. Let's take that. At the very least, they don't care. They're proud of me, unimaginably so, and this is where I'm happy, here in hell, where I belong. And I hope that wherever Coley is, she's as happy as I am. Alright, that's a happy ending, I guess. Um, and so, okay, this is another thing that I was confused by at the beginning. Um, so we've got a changeling in Lavender who has replaced the real Lavender, and this seems to be the real Lavender who is replacing a demon. Um, we could roughly infer that the Lavender from the beginning is the Princess Coley that went missing. Um, and if we do that, then the spoiler from the beginning that I kept showing um makes sense. So and which is again very inconsequential, but um it's funny that a princess of hell would say what the hell. I I'm not sure. I think that she would say that actually because she does have um she likes her weird turn of phrase, but I think it would mean something else. And so that's where my comment is coming from. I think it would she would like what the hell for her would be like um I don't know. Well, Coley was depressed in hell, right? So maybe I'm just getting the names confused. So yeah, what does it mean to love? I mean, that's kind of a question that doesn't really get addressed, but it matters a lot to the story. I mean, maybe not a lot, but a little bit. Um, we have our friend, what's his face from the beginning, the deadbeat. What was his name? Cole. Oh, actually, wait. That's I'm not sure I like that. That Princess Coley and Cole have almost the same name. I'm gonna have to make a note of that 'cause I don't know whether that was intentional or where where does Cole come up? Coley. Yeah, maybe it's maybe the whole similarities with Lavender's a deadbeat and Princess Coley is really the it's really actually the alcoholic father is who Princess Coley went and replaced. That's how do I refer to him? Lavender is and then like I'm worried this isn't making any sense, so we're going to clarify. We only know what's all right. All right. I think that I've said all that I could say, and especially since I've done said it twice, and I've gone way over. So yeah, but I say I've gone way over. The original intent was to give a half hour, no, not a half hour, 50 minutes to each piece of writing for the reading it and um talking about it stages of this whole thing. Um the critique. But naturally I want to just keep going and finish the piece. That's not going to work if I for a longer piece, but so I'll have to like actually pay attention to the time and stop myself because maybe I went a little bit too long this time. But I'm glad I got through the whole thing. I'm gonna have to merge my documents because now I have comments on both of them. I didn't think that through, but that's not terribly exciting, so I'll do it later. Um, Anyway, thank you for coming to my second mic test, and that's all.